Hello everyone, this is a bit of an off the cuff kind of video, I think. I wasn't sure whether to do this because I wasn't sure how I personally felt about doing it, but I've been feeling some kind of way, and I thought last time when I spoke about my anxiety on video, it seemed to help me, and it seemed to help other people in seeing that someone else was feeling the same way. So I thought that I would do this as a sort of, hi Luna, as a sort of therapy for myself. And if I can help myself a bit and maybe help other people along the way, even if it be one person, then it's worth being open and sort of putting myself out there a bit. So this video is about my struggle with panic attacks, and it's a struggle that I've had since I can remember. I used to scare my parents when I was a child because ever since I found out that life comes to an end, I've been terrified of dying, like terrified. And I think a lot of people feel that way. And it's not an unusual thing to feel that way. And what I used to do when I found out that this happened was I stopped being able to sleep very well. I don't remember the last time I ever had a good night's sleep. I'm not a good sleeper at all, never have been, from what I can remember. Because I used to think that when you went to sleep, you stopped breathing. And I would stack my pillows and teddy bears up behind me to keep me in an upright position so that when I went to sleep, I could get air into my lungs. That was my logic. As a child, you kind of don't understand anatomy, so that's what I thought would help. And I thought if I sat up like that, I would not stop breathing. And I would, that's the only way I could kind of try and sleep. And then, so from that, I then found that I would have nightmares. I've always had really vivid dreams. It's not something that I ever thought was weird. It's just some people have vivid dreams, some people don't. So I used to, this is going to sound really trivial and very weird to some people, but other people may think, spot on, that's what my brain used to do. Or nobody's going to think that, and I may just be a bit odd. But I used to, they weren't always necessarily dreams. It was like in that, you know, when you're in that state of you're just starting to fall asleep, so your body's completely relaxed, you're starting to switch off and fall asleep, but your mind's still sort of there. I used to see visions of simple things like a flower wilting, which is weird. But that was like my brain's way of sort of seeing that things ended, and it would terrify me. And then I would go into a panic attack, and it would literally just come on like that, freight train, bang, straight in the head. And I would, I wouldn't scream, I would start to hyperventilate. And I was in a bunk bed. I shared a room with my sister at the time, so I'd have to get myself down the ladders, and because straight away my instinct was I need to escape from this, I need to get away from this, and I'll be fine, and I need to get out, just get out, and you'll be okay. So I used to run for the door, and when I got out of the door, I would realise that there is no escape. Because dying is just one of those things that we all need to come to terms with. And it used to obviously make the panic attack worse. So I used to go down to my parents and I used to obviously be scared and cry, and I'd be like, I don't want to die, I don't want to die, I just don't. And I used to beg them to help me because I didn't want it to happen. And obviously, as every parent does, they used to comfort me and they used to hug me and they used to tell me it was going to be okay and that I just needed to go back to bed and everything would be okay. Tomorrow's a new day kind of thing. And that's all I needed from them at that point, was just a comfort. And they never used to make me feel like I was stupid. They never used to make me feel like I was an idiot for doing that, even though I used to tell myself that I was. They would never make me feel that way, and they would always comfort me. And then I'd have nightmares about, I would be stood in the back garden, and I have 3 older sisters, and my 3 sisters would be there with me, and my parents would be with me, and then suddenly they wouldn't be there anymore and everything was black around me. And it would literally terrify me, the idea of losing them and them not being there anymore. And then I would also have nightmares of seeing my own gravestone. And I regularly have dreams of, I saw a podcast recently. I always watch Jack Mate's Happy Hour, and I saw recently they were talking about dreams or something, and running away from a killer or something, and they were like, oh, well, apparently there's a thing where if you die in your dream, you die in real life. And they said, oh, yeah, the killer would always sort of get to them, but then they'd wake up, or it never really happened that way. But I used to have really strong dreams of being attacked or stabbed. It was always a stabbing, and I would feel the pain. And it was obviously just my brain telling me that, or anything, because when I woke up it wasn't there anymore. But I would always be caught by the person that was chasing me. I'd never get away, and there'd never be any form of chance of that. It would always be I'd be caught. And I just became used to that and silently resigned to the fact that that was just the way that my brain was wired up. And I would I'd always think Ash is like my 3rd serious relationship, and with my first 2 relationships, I would have these panic attacks, and I'm pretty sure they probably thought I was making it up, because it's not normal. Or in my head it wasn't normal to be that way, and I think there wasn't as much around mental health at that time. So I think a lot of the time people were seen as attention seekers for doing that certain thing. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that it was assumed that I was just being a bit attention seeking. But it would literally be like late on in the night and I would just start having a panic attack and I would growl onto them and not be able to breathe or explain why, or I'd just suddenly burst into tears because my brain just wouldn't shut off, it wouldn't stop. And I found that it got worse when I was in my 2nd serious relationship, because he was quite a mental manipulator, and he would make me think that I couldn't live without him. So my mental health deteriorated with that, because I just thought he would make me think I was an idiot. And he would always play on my mental state. For example, he would tell me the day after I'd had a drink that I was awful the night that I was drinking, even though I wasn't. I mean, everybody's a bit annoying when they're drunk. And he would tell me stories of what I'd done the night before, and when I said I couldn't remember doing that, he'd tell me, oh no, I was so drunk that I blacked out and must not remember doing that. And the only reason, and so I would start to be in a panic state the day after drinking, because I was conditioned to think that I'd immediately done something wrong. So I would be panicky the day after drinking, so I just associated panicking with a hangover, because he would make me feel that way. And it wasn't until I started asking people, oh, did I do this, or started apologising to people, that I realised I wasn't actually doing those things. And it's taken me, I left him 4 years ago, and it's taken me until now to stop feeling that way. So it's been a long process. But my panic attacks got worse with being with him. And then I met Ash, and they sort of seemed to subside because I was with someone who I was truly happy with. And I wouldn't have these episodes. Or if I did, I'd sort of learn to conceal them to an extent. But I wasn't, it was a once in a blue moon kind of thing that I would have these issues, because they ebb and flow. Like through my life, I'd sort of have big bouts of having these panic attacks, and then they'd sort of calm down a bit, and then I started having anxiety attacks and panic attacks, which are, the difference between them are anxiety attacks, they're sort of they're a culmination, they start to build up and you can feel the anxiety coming up, and they can last for a while. Whereas panic attacks, it's like being smacked and then suddenly you're in this panic state, and they last for short bursts. That's the difference between those, and I've only just really learned that myself when I started having anxiety attacks. So they sort of calmed down a bit. And now, recently, I have found that they've slowly started to trickling back. Nightmares and night terrors I've always kind of had, so that's sort of, I'm used to that now. But these panic attacks, I thought I'd sort of bested them. And recently, I've found since becoming a mum, they've started to come back, because I'm terrified of leaving Adelaide and Ash. And I'll have dreams of, nightmares of me passing and them having to sort of get on and do. Or I have nightmares of something happening to Adelaide and I'm powerless, and I think that that's a normal feeling for a mum with their child, so I wasn't so worried about that. But recently I have found that it's almost like my brain has decided that it wants to torture me, because I will lie there at night and I count the years I've got left to see Adelaide grow. And I think about how old I'm going to be when she hits certain milestones, and when I'll leave her, and how much of her life I'm going to be able to see. And it's just really upsetting. And I really struggle with that because I want to see her flourish and become the incredible person that she's already shown that she's going to become. And I want to be a grandma and I want to see all that. But it's almost like my brain's put a countdown in my head of how much time I've got left. And that's if I get to an old age. And then I start worrying about what if I don't get to that age, what if something happens to me, and it's almost made me a bit of a hypochondriac and worrying about every little thing, which then makes me scared to go to the doctor about things because I'm like, oh, well, what if they tell me that there's something seriously wrong, and what if I don't have that much time? And I think lockdown's sort of not really helped with that because I don't think it's helped very many people's mental health. Sorry, Luna likes to groom me when I'm upset because she's really cute. I think a lot of people's mental health has deteriorated through lockdown because we're losing time. And I kind of try and embrace the fact that I now have more time with Adelaide, but it's more time with Adelaide just inside, not able to take her to places, not able to do things. And even though I get more time with her, it's missing out on time with the other people that I love in my life. And I don't know whether that's a catalyst for me becoming this way again. But I don't know. I just wish I had the answers for why I am the way that I am. And I really struggle with it because, like I've said before, I'm a people pleaser, so I've been putting it to the back of my mind as much as possible and just carrying on to make sure that Adelaide and Ash are happy and doing it that way and trying to forget about it, but it's not working. So I thought I'd have a little video therapy session to talk. I'm in two minds as to whether to upload or not, but I feel like I want to sort of show other people that if they are feeling the way that I'm feeling, or they've had similar experiences to me, that there are other people out there that have this or that are this way. Because I can't put I can't tell you what I have. I can't tell you why this is happening. I don't think that a fear of death is an irrational fear. I always called it a phobia, but I don't feel like it's a phobia. I feel like it's normal to be scared of not being here anymore because nobody knows what's after this. But yeah, I just sort of wanted to talk about it and see if anybody else feels this way. I just thought it would be nice to see if, well, not nice because I don't want other people to feel this way, but comforting to the people who do feel this way, to know that there are other people that feel this way. Yeah, I think I'm just going to end it there. I just wanted to sort of share where my mental state's at the minute because it's not the best place, but I feel like talking about it is the best thing you can do for yourself. So that's what I'm doing. I'm talking about it. But I hope everybody's I hope everybody's okay. I know that everything's sort of a bit up in the air again at the minute with good old Bozza. But I just, I want to urge people, if they're feeling any form of way, please talk to people about it. Because the chances are that other person that you speak to is going through a similar situation or feeling a similar way. And that's what we need as humans, is kindness. So show kindness and pass it forward, and be open and talk to people. And sending lots of love out there to everybody.